All right, so the one thing I wanted to do is to be honest with people. I'm learning through, reality that days, people don't really care that much about the past. And, there's some things I really want to talk about, and I think this is the best place to open it up with.
Live. All right, Justin, you're up, sir.
All right, so the one thing I wanted to do is to be honest with people. I'm learning through, reality that days, people don't really care that much about the past. And, there's some things I really want to talk about, and I think this is the best place to open it up with. Growing up was very tough, and it was very nerve-wracking. And I thought maybe starting from there and until whenever my 10 minutes ends, well, I'll know who I really am. So pretty much, I grew up in Dedham. I struggled very heavily with learning disabilities. I'm dyslexic. I also have a language-based learning disability as well. And those are something I always kept to myself because people growing up, especially in high school, I was always made fun of, Nobody really cared. I grew up with a mother that didn't really care. My father was in and out of rehab. So it was a very hard struggle for me, but the only one thing that really worked for me was music. I learned how to read music perfectly, and I loved music. So music to me was the best thing ever. And at the age of 13, I got an internship at my local access TV station. So from there, I found what I really loved to do. So I would skip school, and I would go ahead and just go to the TV station. Didn't care about my grades because my grades sucked, So at the end of the day, it was tough, because being in a special educational program, you're a nobody, in people's eyes. And the reason why I'm filming this is because, I want to put out there is you could be anybody, especially now these days. And, someday down the line, I would like to talk about this with people, So that was the one thing I really wanted to get off my chest because, we all keep things inside, but once you relieve it out to people, I think people understand you even more. And, I'm at the point in my life is I really don't care what people think. So with that said, so I had an internship at the age of 13. I did marching band, again, being dyslexic, reading backwards and all that. Never read music backwards. So music, I had no problem doing that. So it must be the right or left part of my brain working, So at the age of 13, I had an internship all the way up until 19. And I got hired at the age of 19, and I loved it. I wouldn't hang out with my friends. I would go tape town events, your local school committee meetings, board of selectmen. I mean, you name it, I was there. I could care less about anybody else, because I just loved doing that. And I didn't get paid for it because you're an intern at the time, so you're getting credit. So that's where my passion came from, was working at my local access TV station. And without that, I don't think I would be here because all my knowledge from working the camera or editing is from that. So that really holds a special place in my heart. I always think about that TV station. Unfortunately, it's no longer there anymore because local access is down the tubes. But at the end of the day, that is a part of me. If you ever go to my office in my apartment, you'll see all these 3/4-inch tapes I still have. I kept 4 boxes of them because I can't get rid of them. People have said to me, hey, why don't you throw them out? It's nostalgic. I cannot get rid of something like that because that's my life right there. That's what really started me. So if I can ever convert them to digital, I can see myself at the age of 13, So from there, again, I got hired, and then when 2008, 2009 came around, when the economy took a hit, I lost my job. I didn't go to college, couldn't go to college. Well, I did go to college. I went to college for a semester, failed miserably, but I passed the video course. But everything else I failed. So college didn't work, so after I lost my job, I tried applying to other TV stations, and it just didn't work because I didn't have a background. I didn't have a college degree background. So I started working at Starbucks. I had to do something, you know, because right when I got let go, I lost my apartment. I lived out of my car for 6 months. You know, I was eating grass. I was trying to figure out what to do for food because I had no money. So that's why I went to go work at Starbucks. So I stayed there for 7 years. And I think Starbucks taught me a lot about customer service and a lot about, you know, how to handle people, because at that time Starbucks was getting into it like really fast pace, but it really sets your mind on, you know, correct customer service compared to going to Dunkin' Donuts. You get terrible customer service, you know. So from there, I met a guy named Mike Barsamian who owns Lords and Ladies. That's where I used to get my hair done. And he says, hey, do you want to come work at the salon? I said, sure, I'll come work at the salon. Well, I was there for 7 years. That was freaking horrible. The working the desk, I got appointments backwards. I mean, never got fired though, but I got the appointment backwards. I got June. The one thing I got was June and July. I booked somebody for July and it was for June. I'm like, I get June and July confused. They both begins with J's, you know. So that was tough, but he didn't fire me. He made up a position for me. It was horrible, but it was a position that he did. I was his personal assistant. So pretty much, go get me coffee, go do this, and at the end of the day, you're like, oh my God, what else am I gonna do? But during that time, I fell back in love with video. One of my friends gave me my first video camera, just gave it to me, and he said, hey, you know, why don't you film a wedding? I'm like, I don't know how to do that. How would I get into a wedding? He's like, yeah, put an ad up on Facebook. That's what I did. I charged $500 for my first wedding. I said, listen, I'll film anybody's wedding for $500. I got so many hits off of that. So I went off that and I kept on building and building and building, and that's how I became where I am now from my wedding industry, you know. And I always think back of, if I didn't take that internship, where would I really be? And I think, you know, things happen in life for a reason. And I really believe in faith, and I really believe in the reality of things. And if I didn't take that, I really don't know where I would be, because again, you know, I haven't spoken to my mom in a decade, unfortunately, you know, but you know, thank God to her, she kind of forced me to do the internship, and I'm just very blessed and lucky to have what I have around me. So going from there, when COVID happened, I didn't want to do weddings anymore because they treat you horribly, horribly. Now one thank you, this, that, I mean, half the time they didn't even feed me, you know? Yeah, and I was there for 14, right, or a while, I was there for 14 hours. You think someone will like say, hey, here's a snack. Nope. So I just couldn't take it anymore. My knees were hurting so much because, you know, one, I worked at Starbucks for 7 years and constantly doing this on the ground, you know, you take damage on your knees. So altogether, I said, enough is enough. So I'm like, well, how do I do a commercial? Well, Harry and I know the same person named Steve Peluso. I contacted him, and I know Steve from the Cable Access studio. He did a car show called Motor Mouth, and that kind of really got me going into what I really love to do. So I called Steve. I said, Steve, listen, I need to do a commercial. Can I do yours for free? He said, sure, why not? He likes free things anyways. So I did his for free, and then from there I just kept on posting, and I just kept on reaching out to other video business people and just asking questions. Because the one thing for me was, I didn't go to college for business school. I didn't really go to college for video. I had it for a background as an internship and a little after, so I kind of went off of that. And I still study it till this day. I go on YouTube and I learn how to color better. I learn how to use my camera better. I still do that stuff every single day, because if I don't get better at what I do, then it's not for me, you know? So going from the commercial thing was very, very hard. And right when I went for the commercial thing and I quit my job at Lords and Ladies, probably wasn't the smartest move at the moment, but I quit my job at Lords and Ladies, and I left there with negative $500 in my account. And I'm like, shit. Am I doing the right thing? And I'm like, well, I could go back, but if I go back, I'm proving him right. because he told people, like, yeah, he'll be back, he'll be back. Now, this was like 2.5 years ago. He'll be back, and I haven't came back since. But I wanted to prove him wrong so much. From somebody making $15 an hour, I want to try to see if I can make it. I'm like, listen, I lived out of my car for 6 months, so what's the worst can happen, you know? So yeah, so I had negative $500 in my account. I went on food stamps just to get me just to get me off the ground, you know? I got on Mass Health. I didn't have health insurance for a good 8 years. So, you know, I started getting my life and everything back together, and then I started learning how to use LinkedIn more, and et cetera, and then things started working and happening, and for the grace of God, it put money in my pocket, you know, and put money that I have never seen before in my life, you know? But yeah, with that said, I'm very lucky to be where I am now. And again, you know, you have to go through the tough spots to be where you are. You know, running a business or life isn't easy. And if you don't go through those obstacles, I don't think you can be where you are. And that's it. So again, I just wanted to film that for myself also, and maybe put that up on YouTube, and who knows, but one day I will, you know, depending where I am in 10 years, I really would like to talk about that with people, about my life, you know, because there's a lot of kids out there, you know, people who's dyslexic with learning disabilities, they really see somebody and go, oh, well, he's slow. Honestly, all my life, and that's what I grew up with, and that's not true, because everybody in this room learns completely different. You do, and we all do. So I just wanted to film it and just maybe show it to somebody, or just have it for myself for a record. So thank you.